Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pitchside Podcast channel. I'm your host, the HOD of the PSB. Like, share, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, enable notifications to receive all the updates from these match recaps and all other content on the channel. Follow us on social media. I'm at PSB on Twitter, Pitchside Pod on Instagram, and you can listen to our podcast daily on Google Podcasts, Spotify, or any other platform. And we're coming in straight after the game between Arsenal and Man City at the Emirates Stadium, ending 1-0 for the visitors. And, quite frankly, this was a game that subverted everyone's expectation, I would say. Everybody expected a rout, really. Man City would be walking over Arsenal for the first 20-25 minutes to 30 minutes, really, in the game. It was pretty much looking to go that way. The early goal from Raheem Sterling, pretty much from the first chance that Man City had. Brilliant diagonal ball from Diaz, the assist from Mahrez, going past Tierney and putting a brilliant cross towards Sterling, which, in a centre-half pairing that contains Pablo Mari and Holding, Raheem Sterling, pretty much not exactly the tallest player in the world, getting a header in the 6-yard box isn't exactly something that you would really be happy of, similar to the situation with Lautaro Martinez between Romagnoli and Kier in the game between Inter Milan and AC Milan in the Serie A. So from that point onward, Man City were dominating the game completely. There's not even a question about who's better in the first 30 minutes of the game. But then Arsenal started getting a little bit into the game as the game wore on, and they had a sort of sustained period of momentum between the last quarter of an hour of the first half to the first quarter of an hour of the second half. They had some sort of sustained momentum, getting a couple of opportunities, defensive clearances, and a lack of good finishing deprived Arsenal from finishing and putting those occasions and those half opportunities in the net. Really, I think by design or by accident, Man City played the game at a pedestrian pace. They weren't exactly very fast and very sharp up front. They played it at first gear game, I would say. They didn't try to exhaust themselves too much. They know that they have a Champions League game in the midweek, so they need to focus on that. Obviously, one of the substitutions made, getting De Bruyne out and getting Jesus in, was obviously made for that particular reason, to keep De Bruyne relatively fresh for the game against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Arsenal couldn't contain Man City in the first half, pretty much, with the midfield of Nene and Xhaka, not exactly the most active of midfield. That made Fernandinho, a 35-year-old player, pretty much look like prime Busquets in that midfield. I mean, it wasn't even close. And they didn't even need to bring Rodri. They didn't even need to bring Rodri on the pitch, really, to make the difference felt for them. They didn't need to bring Aguero back. They played the pedestrian phase. They basically gave the game away for Arsenal. Try to let them have possession as much as they can, knowing that they will not be as lethal as they should be against Man City. They didn't find spaces to get past them. Man City, placed themselves really well on the pitch and defended really well for the latter part of the second half, around starting from minute 65 to 70, really. Arsenal started trying to get desperately forward, and Man City locking up behind really well. And again, when they go forward, they didn't want to score. It almost felt like Man City, again, by design, probably playing the game at a slow pace, not exactly taking it too hard on Arsenal, leaving Arsenal with every sort of conceivable opportunity to get possession on the ball. Still, when they come to the final third, they weren't exactly effective. Nicolas Pepe hasn't had the best of games up front. They tried to mix it up, getting Smith Rowe in the second half instead of the likes of Pepe, and also Odegaard was starting, didn't give a lot to the Arsenal midfield. In fact, he gave the ball away more than they gave passes to the up-front players of Arsenal. Overall, a 1-0 comprehensive victory, I would say, for Manchester City. Didn't go too hard on Arsenal, didn't go too easy. They did the job, and I think just like the first game, they scored the goal that they needed to score, and they pretty much not exactly sat in the back and played on the counter, but relatively played at a slow pace and, slowed the tempo down a lot comparatively to what they usually play with. Since the latter part of the first half, really, they started to play really slow and regressed a little bit to the back, leaving Arsenal with more possession in the second half. But again, when you are as ineffective as Arsenal were today, you could not really get even a point against Manchester City this period of time in the Premier League, and it looks like Man City are getting one step closer to the Premier League title now. It's 10 points in front of Man United and Leicester City. Man United obviously playing later on against Newcastle United. We don't know exactly how is the game going on. Apparently there is COVID cases in the United staff. We don't know how the situation going, but for Manchester City, it's pretty much done deal now. They're going to be winning the league. It depends on how much points they will leave behind them. What is going to be the margins? Can they go on undefeated until the end of the season now? Their run has been incredible. This is the 11th win in a row in the Premier League. The 18th in all competitions. They're breaking records. Another clean sheet this season. Another great defensive performance. Again, a masterstroke of tactical match for Pep Guardiola, knowing how to deal with the side of Arsenal, who couldn't be effective up front. They had a lack of presence in the midfield when Thomas Partey being injured and unavailable. They haven't exactly had the hard work in El Nene and Xhaka, and some defensive mistakes, of course, in the centre-half pairing and the left back for the goal meant that they will be losing for the first time in the last 6 matches at the Emirates Stadium, ending their bit of a good run as of late for the Gunners. I mean, who they will be damaged a lot by this result as far as their ambitions of getting a European spot. That's it from me. I was your boy, the HOD of the PSB. Like, share, comment on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, enable notifications to receive all the updates from these kind of match recaps and all other content on the channel. Follow us on social media, site Best Beyond with a page sideboard on Instagram, and you can listen to our podcast tomorrow on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform. Until the next time, which is going to be tomorrow in the podcast, I will be seeing you soon. Goodbye.